Hi, welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Gia. I am a 25-year-old lady who lives in my mom's basement, and I occasionally stream on Twitch, and I also now do this, I guess. But I wanted to go ahead and talk about my August TBR list. I just made it literally 5 minutes ago. I will have a July wrap-up video. There are a couple more books I want to get in for the rest of the month. It is currently July 12th when I filmed this. So, still got a little bit of time, but I decided to plan some things in advance. But the books that I will finish reading in July, I'm going to keep those a little bit of a secret, but they're going to sound a little familiar to some people. I'm finally reading some longtime faves or longtime hate faves for some people. You spin me right round, baby, right round. I think we may be too far away. Oh shit, oh shit, oh shit, oh shit. I was just playing, I promise. I'm playing, I promise. So for August, I am setting a small goal for myself to read 5 books in just August alone, because in the first video that I posted where I talked about the books that I had read recently, a lot of them had been like, that was over like a 5-month period of the books that I read over a 5-month period. But as I started to read more, I started to get faster. So I decided to just make it like a easy 5-book goal. That's, at first I did 4, like 1 book a week, but then I was like, I can do better than that. I mean, depending on how long the book is, but I didn't exactly look. I just kind of picked, mostly picked from things that I had already downloaded to my Kindle list, like unlimited, like Kindle unlimited books that I want to go ahead and try to get through as best as possible before I have to return them or they're not offered on Kindle Unlimited anymore. I'm kind of like trying to go a race against time here. But I wanted to go ahead and get through what I had already selected to read, and I picked an easy 5 to start with. The first being The Selection by Kiera Cass. The one thing I know about this book is that it's basically The Bachelor, and when you win, you become queen. Simple enough. We've seen this before. This book was huge when I was in high school. I remember this coming out when I was in like freshman year, sophomore year of high school, like 2011 to 2013 era of YA, like around the same time that Divergent, Delirium, and The Maze Runner were getting big. That was when this book came out, and it escaped my radar. Like I completely just did not read it. So I wanted to go back and read it. I saw that it was on Kindle Unlimited, so I was just like, you know what, let's give it a shot. So yeah, literally all I know about this book is that it's The Bachelor, and when you win, you become the queen. That's it. So the second book I'll be reading is The Bridge Kingdom by Danielle L. Jensen. It is book 1 of 3. It is a trilogy. I'm not sure if I'll pick up the other 2. This is kind of a test. This is supposed to be a romance and an action story. Let me go ahead and just I do read like the summaries when I'm picking them on Kindle Unlimited, but I just look at so many, I forget. But it says a warrior princess trained in isolation, Lara is driven by two certainties. The first is that King Aaron of the Bridge Kingdom is their enemy. The second is that she'll be the one to bring him to his knees. I'm sold. That's all I need to know. That's literally bring him to his knees. Period, sis. We love a femtop. Moving on away from action a little bit, I wanted to get more into a fantasy era. I'm in my fantasy revival right now. You'll have to excuse me. The third book on this list I actually purchased. This is not a book that I rented from Kindle Unlimited. I think I saw it for like $1.99 or like 99 cents, and I just straight up bought it because it sounded so interesting. And it is Touch of Power by Maria V. Snyder. I wanted to kind of get away, like when I was listing out all these books, I selected The Selection because it was like YA of like yesteryear, like something that I had not gotten to. And then The Bridge Kingdom is more like romance of now, where it's like romance and action. But then I wanted something a little bit different, where I wanted like fantasy. I'm sort of in my fantasy revival era, if you will. Like, let me sow my oats, please. I would like to escape this world if that's at all possible. So, what was so interesting to me about this book is the fact that the main character, her name is Avery, without an E. It's Avry. I'm going to call her Avery. She is a healer, but in the world that she lives, healers are hunted because they're seen as like, I don't want to say devilish, but like bad omens, or like the fact that they have these powers is like kind of seen as otherworldly or supernatural. And she ends up getting kidnapped. This is all from the description, by the way. I haven't started reading it yet. She ends up getting kidnapped by this band of rogues, and then they end up like taking her to take care of somebody. It feels very season 1 of Outlander. Like, instead of barreling back through time where in your current era you were a combat nurse and have healing knowledge that we won't know for several centuries, instead healing is like a mystical, fantastical power, but there still is that element where you are hunted and not seen as valuable, but then you're kidnapped and then used to make somebody else like better, which I found to be pretty interesting. I'm just trying to get back into the fantasy of it all. It sounds very interesting. If I only spent $1.99 on it and I give it 3 stars, it was a good purchase. It was a good $2 purchase. So I'm really excited to read that one. So this next book I did not realize was more of like a Christmassy read. So I guess we're going to do like a Christmas in August moment. But this is called Twelfth Night's Bride, and night is spelled with a K, as you can see right here. Apparently this is about a lady who steals from a neighboring laird, and then for recompense for her thievery, he says that she has to marry him now, which, if it's all to save her clan from starvation, I guess sis is just going to have to do it. But this was just like, I wanted, after the first 3, I kind of didn't want something easy, but I wanted something that was like simple. You know, I was going for like simple romance, because what I'm not trying to do is like overwhelm myself by reading these like really, really big, substantial books and reading like 5 of them in a month. I'm trying to do like a balance of the two. Like, some months are going to be heavily more into the romance, or some months are going to be more heavily into fantasy, or maybe I'll have like a month where it's all historical romance. I'll probably do that. But I'm trying to like find a balance and like see where I find my niche, where I am reading the fastest but also enjoying it the most. Like, I'm trying to find that balance. And of course, the last book I wanted to read for August is a typical smut book. Like, there has to be smut in this or I will be shocked. If of the other books, like, I would be not surprised if The Bridge Kingdom, 12th Night's Bride, and honestly, I would be shocked if all of them except the selection didn't have sex in it. At least one. Like, at least one. Like, for sure, Touch of Power and 12th Night's Bride, like 110% have sex scenes. But this is the smut book of the month that I've chosen to read. It's called A Ruin of Roses by Breene. It is like, immediately from just looking at the brief like quotes from other authors, I can tell that this is supposed to be like dark and smoky and sensual. Well, but also it is supposed to be, and this is a quote, a dark and spicy Beauty and the Beast retelling, featuring an anti-hero, a strong heroine, and a humorous supporting cast. This is an enemies to lovers and possible fated mates story suitable for 18 plus. It's the first of a trilogy ending on a cliffhanger. You got me. When you said enemies to lovers, like, you already have me by the throat. I don't know what more you want from me. So those are the 5 books that I have set aside to read for August. I may or may not like read more than that. I'm not entirely too sure. But one of the main goals I set for myself, like, as I'm trying to plan this whole thing out and like actually give it time and energy, is that I actually want to plan out what I'm reading. I'm not trying to go too deep into it because I don't want to spoil anything, or when I kind of open the book, I want to be a little bit surprised as to what it's about. So I'm like looking at the synopses when I'm obviously like picking them for my lists, but when it comes to actually reading the summaries, I'm just kind of skimming and I'm just going more off of vibes. But then when I actually like go through and I tell you like from the summaries, like, okay, this is the balance that I'm seeking here. So that's kind of what I'm going for. And I think maybe for September we'll do like an all historical romance month or something. Like we'll do like all historical romances or something, which of course I can blaze through those in like 2 or 3 days. Like I am very, very quick when it comes to certain historical romances. I have some other ideas about things I want to do. And like before I wrap this up, just to talk through like some of the ideas that I have been having for future videos, I want to do a video on Crave. I may or may not have posted it by this time, but I want to do a video on Crave, and the rest of the books are on Kindle Unlimited as of right now, July 12th. So I want to maybe go ahead and start reading book 2, maybe in August at some point. I don't know. I'm a little scared, not gonna lie. I'll probably do my one review of book 1 before I decide to travel into book 2. But if it's on Kindle Unlimited and it's free, like I'm not going to. I'll at least give it a shot. And if it's killing me by 25%, I'll DNF it and I won't continue. But if it's something that people want to see, whether it's critically or just me roasting it for like a half hour straight, like I'll do it for the LOLs. Like just for pure comedy, I'll do it because it sounds like a great time. But like if it's actually terrible, then I won't put myself through it. But I want to do like continuing the Crave series potentially. I want to do a historical romance marathon. I want to do a revisiting of my favorite of all time paranormal romance series that is still ongoing. It has a whole extended universe and it is amazing. And honestly, it is underrated in my opinion. Like I don't know of anybody besides like one of my best friends from high school who introduced me to it that like knows that this series exists other than me. And I think that it needs some acknowledgement. It's awesome. Like I love it. Even when it's cheesy, I love it. There are a lot of things that I would like to do. I have ideas. We're just going to keep on going with the flow, see what happens. But it is 11:30 at night now, and I am going to put myself to bed because that is another thing that I am working on is having a decent sleep schedule. So I'm going to put myself to bed and finish the current book I'm reading. And I have 2 more books that I'd like to finish in July. I have 19 days to finish 2 more books, which I don't see how that's going to be hard. One of them I had already started several months ago. I'm probably just going to restart it because I had it in paperback and I was struggling to get through it. But that was because the format didn't suit me anymore. So I have it on an e-reader and I think it'll go much more smoothly this time. So fingers crossed. I'm hoping. Anyway, if you've made it this far, thank you so much. Be sure to leave a like and subscribe to the channel. If you'd like to catch me anywhere else, you can catch me on Twitter at HuntressGia and on Twitch at HuntressGia. So you can find me pretty much anywhere except on the streets because I will be inside because it is too damn hot to be outside. Cut all this. Cut it all. Cut all this. This was nonsense.